This week, we've got more tier list.
And more game shows. All Systems Go starts right now.
Hello, all, and welcome back to another exciting episode of All Systems Go, the only show that obsesses over various details and various niche intellectual properties every single week. Eat your heart out, Matt Pat. I'm Just a Theory, Jenny.
And I'm just Sammy. Let's get started. Today, November 15th, is Indie World Showcase Day. Nintendo announced 12 new indie titles that will be coming to the Switch in 2023 and 2024. Firstly, Shantae Advance Risky Revolution is coming out in 2024 and will feature a new 4-player local battle mode. Core Keeper, an underground sandbox game, will receive a full Switch release in 2024. On Your Tail was just revealed and is a sleuthing game featuring exploration, minigames, and fishing. It will release exclusive to the Switch in 2024. How, a turn-based tactical game released today. A Star Named Eos, a narrative puzzle game, will release in spring 2024. Roguelike game Backpack Hero released today. Many other games were announced and released, so make sure to check out the full list.
Warner Bros. Is being stinky again. Their latest target? Coyote vs. Acme. After almost completing work on the movie, Warner Bros. Discovery decided to scrap the whole thing for a tax write-off. A tax write-off, I repeat. So many people have put in thousands of hours of work on this movie just for it to be scrapped. But this isn't even the first time they've done that either, as Warner Bros. Discovery also scrapped Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt for tax write-offs. Talk about corruption! However, there is a little bit of hope, as Warner Bros. Is allowing the filmmakers of Coyote vs. Acme to go to other studios to finish the film. The situation is so messed up that Congress is making statements. Joaquin Castro, a Texas congressman, tweeted at the Federal Trade Commission to check out Warner Bros. Discovery. Yikes.
It seems that I have become the host who talks about job layoffs constantly. This week, Amazon joins the fray. Amazon laid off 180 employees from their gaming division after restructuring eliminated 180 roles in the company. This isn't the first or second time they've done this year. In January, Amazon laid off 18,000 people, which was quickly followed up with an additional 9,000 people in March. Now, for those who love themselves and aren't math majors, that's 27,180 people who have lost their jobs due to Amazon's seemingly endless corporate greed. Amazon claims to have several games in the works, but with their track record, it wouldn't be surprising if those were also canceled. Amazon, do better.
Sammy, I'm a math major and that hurt my feelings, just letting you know. Anyways, Pokemon, the franchise of many, many shows, is adding yet another show to their lineup. Pokemon Concierge is a stop-motion animated TV series coming to Netflix in December. The show follows Haru, a concierge at a Pokemon resort. Wow, almost like it's in the title. The initial drop will only have 4 episodes, so while we aren't starving for content, we sure aren't feasting. If you're interested, Pokemon Concierge will be available on Netflix on December 28th this year.
Omegle, my favorite website when I was 13, has officially been shut down. This comes after Omegle founder stated that the website was no longer sustainable, financially nor psychologically. For those who don't know what Omegle was an online chat service that paired 2 random individuals with common interests with each other to have a conversation. This was super cool and fun until the internet did what the internet does best and ruined it with their godforsaken indecency. This indecency ended with a lawsuit against Omegle when the website paired an 11-year-old with a child predator. Words cannot describe how problematic this website became in its final days. Hopefully, the legacy of this terrible website will be forgotten to the abyss.
Is anyone else getting fatigued by the amount of game franchises trying to capitalize on the movie series trend right now? Because I'm getting a bit exhausted, to be honest. In other news, Sega announced their potential plans to adapt Persona and Yakuza Like a Dragon into movie franchises. Though, even if these movies aren't made, you can still look forward to content from the from their series. Persona 5 Tactica launches this Friday, November 17th, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth launches on January 26, 2024. Just keep watching ASG, as I'm sure we'll have a news story if either of these movies are confirmed to begin production.
Next up, Cohlman brings us back to that Mario tier list.
All systems go. We'll be right back.
Up next, Cohlman continues ranking his favorite Mario games in this upcoming video. Let's go!
Up next is a game that technically came out before Mario World Yoshi's Island. I'm just dumb. I promise it's because I haven't forgotten about this game, because this next game we're going to talk about is an absolute godsend. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. This was the sequel to Mario Land on the Game Boy.
No sh**.
And oh my god, it improves upon the original in basically every aspect. Pretty much everything Super Mario Land did, Super Mario Land 2 did in spades and way better. The game looks a lot better graphically, taking cues from Mario World. There are so many more stages, so many more power-ups. The presentation in the stages is absolutely phenomenal. And overall, it's just a lot more fun to play compared to the original Super Mario Land. Now once again, because it's a Game Boy game, it does suffer from screen crunch. And because there is so much packed into this game does suffer from quite a bit of slowdown. But it's not like the kind of slowdown that you would see in like Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis, for instance. It's the kind of slowdown that I think is somewhat for the better for the overall presentation and pacing of the game. But I personally think that due to the huge scale of this game overall, I think this would fit on something like the Game Boy Color more, where a game of this magnitude could truly have been realized and made for the better. However, all those flaws that I mentioned really don't take away from the fact that this is still an excellent Mario game, and definitely one of the best ones you can play. And for that reason alone, I'm going to toss it in A tier. I'm going to put it above Yoshi's Island, but not above Mario 2, because I still think I prefer Brothers 2 overall, but I think Mario Land 2 in its overall aspect of platforming, I prefer compared to the gameplay of Yoshi and Yoshi's Island. And up next, we're going to be talking about a port of a pre-existing Mario game that we've covered already, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Now, a lot of people may just say that Mario Deluxe is just a straight port of the original NES game, and in a few aspects, you are right. It's definitely a traditional port, but this version just adds so much extra content in so many different ways. Even outside of the gameplay, there's also a ton of extras this game offers, like the Toy Box mode. There is also an entire recreation of Mario Bros. The Lost Levels in here. There's a versus player battle mode, and a You versus Boom mode, not to mention the overworld like I mentioned before. And with all that stuff that I mentioned, that would have easily made this port the definitive way to play Super Mario Bros. However, there is one big caveat, the screen crunch. I know I mentioned the screen crunch for the previous handheld Mario games on the Game Boy, but those Mario games were also created with the screen crunch in mind. This port of Super Mario Bros. Was based off of a game that didn't initially have that problem. So as a result, the screen crunch is a lot more apparent and unfortunately a lot more hindering in this game compared to the handheld Mario games that were created with that screen crunch in mind. So because of that, it can make platforming a little difficult and not as easy to see what's up ahead of you compared to something like Super Mario Land, where that game was created with its screen in mind, so they were able to plan out all the levels where you'd have a lot of wiggle room to see what's up ahead of you. So because of the screen crunch, even though there was so much more offered in terms of content, I'm gonna have to throw this in B tier for that reason alone. But I'll still put it ahead of Super Mario Bros. Due to all the content that it had added. But I'm not gonna place it a whole tier higher just because of the screen crunch. Now at this point, 2D Mario wasn't really being focused on by Nintendo. It was much more so their 3D titles along with the spin-offs. Whereas the 2D games got delegated to the Game Boy, and they were all remakes of previous Mario games that were released. This came in the form of the Super Mario Advance series, to which there are remakes of previous Mario games that we covered already. and their rankings may or may not differ based on the added content and the added appeal within them. So with that in mind, let's start off with the original Mario Advance, being Super Mario Bros. 2. There were some extra stuff that they offered in this game. For example, each of the Mario Advance games have a way to play the original Mario Brothers arcade game. They also added a lot more voice clips. However, like I said before, the screen crunch hinders the game a little bit, in addition to the sound not sounding as good as the original games due to the GBA's sound chip. So as a result, while it's fun to play these games portably and their controls, you can argue, have definitely been improved upon, I think the overall presentation and the sound was definitely topped in the NES game. So while I'm not going to necessarily put it below or above the original Mario Bros. 2, I will probably toss it in the same tier for sure. I think I prefer playing Mario 2 more, but I think the style of Mario Advance is cool enough to where I would still want to sometimes play it over 2. But I think the screen crunch and stuff like that, along with the better sounding music, would make me want to play the original NES game more. Up next, we got Super Mario World Super Mario Advance 2. The same applies. You have the Mario Brothers arcade game in here. You also have extra sound. You also have extra voice clips coming from Mario, which is always fun. However, like I said with the previous game, the screen crunch is still apparent, and also the game's sound doesn't sound nearly as crisp and enjoyable as the Super Nintendo game. I'm actually going to put this game in A tier, probably below Mario Land 2, because while it's still technically Super Mario World, really what made Super Mario World was the aesthetic and the presentation that the Super Nintendo version brought with it. The Game Boy Advance version still has a lot of it put in, but when the GBA sound chip isn't as good as the Super Nintendo, and with the screen crunch of the game that isn't really a problem in Mario World on the Super Nintendo, then that's when you can see reasons why you might want to rather play Mario World on Super Nintendo instead of the GBA. Up next, we have the Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3. Now, in my opinion, this is my least favorite of the Mario Advance quadrilogy, because basically this is just a revitalized Yoshi's Island with Mario Bros included, and that's about it. And while it is still fun, I'm honestly probably going to put it in B tier, just because what really made Yoshi's Island so special is while it played very good, it was mainly the game's music and the game's graphics that made it amazing. And while a lot of that can still be seen in the GBA game, the compression is, in my opinion, worse here than anywhere else in the quadrilogy, in addition to the screen crunch still being apparent. So I'm personally going to drop it in B tier, because it is the one Super Mario Advance game that I really could not care to go back to. Sure, it is still Yoshi's Island Portable, which is always fun, but I'm personally still going to always pop in the cartridge on the Super Nintendo. And up next, we have Super Mario Advance 4 Super Mario Bros. 3. Now, honestly, this game right here is the best out of the entire Super Mario Advance quadrilogy. I say that because while this game isn't necessarily immune to the flaws that I mentioned with the previous ones, I think it's definitely a bit more resistant, as this is the fourth Mario Advance game, and this one also adds a tremendous amount of content. If you have the e-reader, you can scan certain cards with the e-reader to unlock extra levels in this port. There's a whole island, I believe, that's dedicated to it, and when the Wii U Virtual Console was still open, when you bought this version of the game on the Wii U Virtual Console, you would just get all those levels with it. So that ultimately makes this Mario in particular very fun, albeit still not really comparable to the original game just because of the aesthetic and everything that one offers. So as a result, I'm personally going to put this in top A tier. It's very close to being a low S tier, and if it weren't for the screen crunch, I'd probably put it in low S tier, but the screen crunch and stuff like that is a reason why I would still rather play the traditional Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES. But overall, the Mario Advance trilogy are very fun and very good remakes, but generally most of the time I prefer to play their original games.
Week after week after week after week after week, we've got a discussion panel for you. All systems go. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the amazing ASG discussion panel. I'm your discussion host, Anthony. Let's get right into the show. There's Brandon and Sammy and Enrique. There's Jenica, and that's the song. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the pilot of the amazing digital circus by Gooseworks that dropped last month. And we'll try to avoid spoilers as best as we can, but you have been warned. All right, how are we all doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'd say pretty well.
I'm doing pretty good too. Let's start with our general thoughts about the episode. Anybody want to go first?
I would love to.
All right, go ahead.
I really enjoyed it. I've seen a lot of Gooseworks stuff in the past, and I think she always has really fun stuff. Especially, she's got a really good way of doing something that seems really innocent and just cartoony and fun, and then, oh, we're doing a psychological horror now? Okay, okay, all right. Which is always fun. We love to see it. The characters are all really bright and vibrant, and it's just fun. It's just fun.
It does come off as very happy and kid friendly, but then there's this very underlying dark undertones to the show. That's really I really enjoyed. Anybody else?
I'm gonna come off as dumpy on the show, but the fact that it essentially became the internet newest fad, the one thing that everybody is hyper fixated at the moment. It's when I say it like this, it sounds bad, but it's actually really good because, well, it's just amazing when you can bring this much attention to independent creators, and especially for a group as talented and as new as Glitch Productions is, because I believe they haven't been on for too long. I know it's the SNG 64 people, but.
Yeah, I will be completely honest. I was not familiar with Glitch Productions before before I watched The Amazing Digital Circus. So, anyways, so have we seen anything else by Gooseworks? I know, Jenica, you kind of just hinted at that, but
Teehee.
have y'all seen anything by Gooseworks? If I can speak.
Well, I guess I seen Little Runmo after Jenica here told me earlier that it was also Gooseworks work. So I was like, oh, okay.
There's a little Runmo reference in The Amazing Digital Circus.
Which
Be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you because that's a spoiler.
But you should watch Little Runmo. It's silly, goofy fun. If you're a fan of ASG, I think you'll like it.
Sammy, Brandon?
I have not watched anything by Gooseworks other than this, unfortunately. I genuinely actually don't know what else she's done, so.
I think I've seen Gooseworks around on YouTube. I might have watched a video which were a long time ago. I think one was it the Boxman or something?
Durley Boxman, yes.
Durley Boxman. I think I've seen that one, but it was a while ago, so I don't remember too much about it.
That's fair.
I decided to watch a little bit of the first episode of Murder Drones.
Yes, that is not
Murder Drones,
Gooseworks. Yeah. Murder Drones is not Gooseworks, but
Yeah.
it is
It's
Glitch
Glitch.
Productions.
It's Glitch, but yeah.
Anyways, we're just gonna move on from that question. So I want to know what makes this show why has it really been popular with people on the internet, and not just some other indie film, or not indie film, but indie show that just kind of exists on YouTube.
I would say definitely the animation. The animation itself being brought up because it's as much as we're reaching the era of internet pilots. It's not something to see. It's not something super common to see super high quality 3D animations being posted all around. And also, I know that Murder Drones was reasonably successful within Glitch, but it definitely didn't reach this amount of attention until Digital Circus.
Yeah.
So it's just great. It's I feel like that's what makes it unique.
Because Jenica.
I just wanted to say the reason that we all know what makes this show popular on the internet, it's because Kane is basically the archetype for a Tumblr sexy man.
New sense.
Let's be real. We've all been on the internet before.
See, I think
Well, guy in a
Jax fits that
suit-
role better. I think Jax is definitely better fitting
No,
that role
But
than
the
Kane.
suit, the bow tie, and the strange head.
No, but also Kane does fill the Sands, the Bill Ciphers, like the quirky, random, all-powerful character in the show.
That makes sense. I also just feel like that the Digital Circus has been, or TikTok has been taken over by the Amazing Digital Circus. Like my For You page has just been filled with Digital Circus stuff, and I wonder how much that has also been a factor in its success so far. Yeah. So, what are y'all's favorite characters so far?
The only correct answer, and I stand by this, and anyone who says otherwise is wrong, is Bubble. Bubble is the best character, by far. That's it.
Voiced by Gooseworks herself.
Yay.
Bubbles.
Yes.
Bubbles is I would say is probably the comedic relief of all the characters.
I think they all are.
I think-
I think almost
I
everyone.
think Bubble specifically plays off well, especially of the K-Man.
Why are you like this?
Yeah,
Sorry, did you say the K-Man?
the K-Man.
Oh, I thought you said the K-Man. I was like,
No,
spelled with a
Cane-Man.
C. Fair.
Well, unfortunately, that will have to conclude our discussion for tonight. But after the break, I'll be giving you an in-depth on a classic MMO game.
Anthropomorphic animals fighting against the evils of capitalism in my All Systems Go episode? It's more likely than you'd think. Here's Anthony taking on Toontown.
Toontown Online. Regarded as one of the first family-friendly MMOs, Toontown was one of Disney's first online multiplayer video games. I started playing Toontown at a very young age, and it was like the coolest thing to me. I got Joe, aka my roommate and lifelong best friend, to also play Toontown. Say hi, Joe. Hi. Hi, Joe. So in Toontown, you get to create your own character, or toon. You can customize the species of your toon, the color, size, and clothing. In addition, you can give a silly and wacky name to go with it. And once you've made your toon, you're ready to jump in and explore the world of Toontown. But you have to do a tutorial first. Or should I say, Toontorial. In Toontown, there are 8 different playgrounds to explore, with streets connecting them to each other. Playgrounds serve as like the safe areas in the game, and I will elaborate more on this in a moment. There are many things to do in Toontown. You can ride the trolley and play a variety of different minigames to earn jelly beans, which is the in-game currency system to purchase stuff. You can fish, you can race, you can golf, you can go to parties. Oh wait, nobody has parties. You can customize your house. Yeah. But there's also a storyline to the game as well. Toontown is overrun by the evil cogs, and these cogs can't take a joke, which is why the toons use gags to defeat them. There are 7 different types of gags. The 2 main ones are throw and squirt. Every toon gets both of these gags. Throw is very powerful and has decent accuracy, while squirt, on the other hand, isn't as powerful, but it is a bit more accurate than throw. Then there's tune up. Tune up does as the name suggests. It's essentially the healing for when you're in battle and you need health. Trap gags are the most powerful among the gag tracks, but their gimmick is that they cannot work without the use of lure, which, speaking of, the next gag track is lure. Lure gags will put the cogs into a state of being unable to harm you, and if there's a trap gag set up, the trap will go off, causing big damage to the cogs. Sound gags can damage all cogs at once, and it is the most OP gag track there is. No, seriously, you can spam sound and pretty much win every single fight. And finally, there are drop gags. They do a lot of damage, but they don't have very good accuracy. But what you can do is you can stun the cogs to increase the accuracy of the drop gags using other gags like sound or squirt. So the in-game health system is called Laugh, spelled L-A-F-F. If you lose your laugh, you go sad and you lose all your gags, which is just annoying. You can regain your laugh from tune-up gags, being in a safe area like a playground just over time, or anytime you collect a treasure. And so with all that explained, the storyline of the game is you go through the various playgrounds doing tasks and advancing your gags. This just becomes more tedious than anything because in the early playgrounds it's really simple tasks and you can breeze through them, but once you get to the later playgrounds it just becomes grinding. And yada yada yada, you do that for a little bit and you're done. So this is where we transition. I've given you a general explanation of how the game works, so now here's why Toontown closed in 2013. It ultimately came down to two main reasons. The first main reason was that Disney stopped updating the game and making new content. To quote Toontown YouTuber Mega Snoop, if you don't update a game with new content, then players are going to leave your game. During this time, Disney had another game that was becoming more popular, Club Penguin, and Disney was diverting its resources to that game. And with no new content coming out, old players were leaving the game. The last major update to the game was the addition of something called Field Offices, which offered some new gameplay, but ultimately served no purpose. And no, they did not look as cool as what you're seeing on screen now. With very few veteran players left, it caused the second reason for Toontown's failure, which is bad gameplay. Because there were no skilled players to tell the new players how to play the game correctly, Toontown just became riddled with players not knowing how to play the game in a way that was smart and easy. I'm also borrowing these ideas from ex-Toontown YouTuber DJYC21215. With bad gameplay, it caused even more players to quit because these players would teach their incorrect ways playing onto new tunes, and the cycle would just continue. And so with a decreasing fan base, followed by awful players, Disney pulled the plug on September 19th of 2013. There are also a couple sub-reasons why the game closed. In addition, Disney wasn't making as much money from the game, but gee, I wonder why that could be. The game was also riddled with hackers and those who exploited a ton of glitches. Yeah, Toontown was filled with all sorts of glitches and bugs that Disney just did not bother fixing. So what happened after Toontown closed for good? And how am I even getting all this B-roll footage for you to watch? Well, as you probably guessed, many fan servers of the game sprung up after Toontown's closure. The two main ones that are present at the time of this video are Toontown Rewritten, the one I play, and Corporate Clash. Both of them are unique in their own ways, which I'll quickly explain. Toontown Rewritten is for those who love nostalgia. The game is very similar to its ancestor, but there have been many changes to make the game nicer. For the longest time, however, not much new content was being added, and I was afraid that the game would fall into the trap of its ancestor. Corporate Clash takes on a whole new spin on the classic game. There's a ton of new stuff in there that I couldn't possibly talk about in this video, and I also don't play it. But the main thing with it is it attempts to make Toontown harder because the skill gap for Toontown is really easy. And that pretty much does it for this video. I love Toontown, and it's probably because I just grew up on the game, but hopefully this video may have convinced you to try it out. It's free, and no matter how old this game gets, there will always be a fan base for it, as time has proven. Okay, bye-bye.
After the break, you get even more of me. All systems go. We'll be right back. Fun fact about me that will probably surprise absolutely no one. I did quiz team in high school, which also goes by the name of Academic Challenge or Quiz Bowl. But anyways, I really love doing that, so I kind of wanted to do a mini trash tournament. And by tournament, I mean a small pop culture quiz game. The specific pop culture stuff this time is just stuff that I know because I don't want to be giving misinformation. I tried my best to keep it from being too niche, so once you know the answer, say buzz and raise your hand. If you buzz, you must answer. If you answer correctly before a specific point in the question, you'll get 15 points. This is also known as powering. If you answer incorrectly before the question is finished being read, you get -5 points. If you answer correctly at any point, you'll get 10 points. I will give you 5 seconds after I finish reading the questions to answer. If no answer is given, the question is dead. However, there's no need to worry about who's scoring and all of that because that's my problem to keep track of. But before we get started, I want to introduce our lovely contestants this week. So we've got Kayla. Yay, Kayla. We've got Cam. Yay, Cam. We've got Anne-Marie. Yay, Anne-Marie. And we've got Brandon. Yay, Brandon. Woo! All right. So we're going to get started with my first question. Is everyone ready? Are there any questions for me? All right. Good luck, friends. Okay. Question number 1. These collectibles function as a form of currency in both installments of their games. They can be collected using your character or the motion controls of the Wii Remote. When fed to a Luma, you can get 1-ups, life mushrooms, or even form a new planet. For 10 points, what Mario collectibles are modeled off of Compito, a traditional Japanese candy? 5, 4.
Buzz.
Yes, Cam.
Aren't they the little galaxy bits things?
Prompt. What is the name of them?
That's a good question.
5.
Yeah, I don't know their
4,
specific name,
3,
but I know exactly what it is.
2.
I don't know.
1. All right. What is your answer, Brandon?
Was it Starries?
Starries? What'd you say?
Starites?
Starix?
Starites?
Starites? Incorrect. The answer is Starbits. You were very close, but I'm not going to count
You
it.
said galaxy
Um,
bits. That's so sad.
I'm sorry, but you are incorrect.
That's
Super
true.
Mario Galaxy is one of my favorite games, so I know. All right. You're all good. All right, question 2. This famous tsundere, best known for a scene where they are not even conscious, is comatose in a hospital bed. The main character of the series stands over her, regretting his sinful impulses.
Okay.
For 10 points, what redhead pilots Evangelion Unit 2?
I don't.
Huh?
5,
I know
4,
what you're talking about,
That's crazy.
2,
but I don't know the name.
1. All right, anyone? Are you kidding me?
No.
I didn't watch the show.
This is so disappointing.
Like
Well,
Sakura.
anyways, the answer is Asuka Langley Soryu of Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's all right. All right.
What a pretty name.
What if, huh?
A pretty name.
Yeah, she's cool. All right. Question 3.
Love you, babe.
Hopefully someone will answer sometime. No, you're good. It's just that like I was hoping that like I don't know, maybe someone would get some of the questions. All right. Question 3. This harem rom-com centers a broke high schooler in his quest to make some extra money by tutoring the rich new girls at school. The series.
Buzz.
Yes, Brandon.
Quintessential quintuplets.
All right.
finished, though.
Yes, you get
Yeah,
10
he
points,
gets
not
extra
15.
points.
You were a couple words short of getting power, but that was really good. Nice job, Brandon.
Oh.
That was
Yeah, that's
quintessential quintuplets.
is
Woo,
it? Yeah.
yay! 10 points. Yeah. All right. So,
Yay.
yay, on to the next question. Question 4. This 2005 dub has become a cult classic for anime fans as ADV. Yes.
Ghost stories.
Yeah.
Prompt, like the dub specifically?
The English dub of Ghost Stories?
Yes, correct. You get 15 points.
Yay!
What is
All right,
happening?
Brandon is doing well.
Can we get
It is
Is
the
it-
Ghost Stories
animes?
dub.
Is
What'd
it
you say?
The English ghost stories?
No more
though?
anime.
No more anime? Well, there's gonna be some, but the Ghost Stories dub. For those of you who do not know, this is a little lore drop for you. The Ghost Stories dub, they were given basically free reign to do anything except for you can't change the names of the characters and then like the basic plot, but like they were given free reign to say whatever. So they went insane with some of that stuff. It was kind of funny. Some of it was a little bit questionable. Problematic fave in my opinion. All right. So now that we've done that, we're on to question 5. Whew. Question 5. This streaming website shut down in 2020 after 8 years of service after stricter rules on online piracy were put in place. This website was well known for its ridiculous prove you're not a robot quizzes before loading in content. For 10 points, what now closed piracy website has a sister manga website also meant for piracy?
Buzz.
Yes, Kayla?
Kiss anime.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, woo! All right, 10 points to Kayla. Rest in peace, Kiss Anime. I remember when she died. Rest in peace, Kiss Anime.
I don't.
Rest in peace. I watched Corpse Party on that.
You
Yeah.
buried her.
Kiss Anime died in 2020. I remember the day that she died because I was very sad about it.
You were at the funeral.
I was at the funeral, yes. All right, so now on to question 6. This character initially lied to other characters in their series, claiming to be the princess that they were searching for to protect the real princess. Like the main character, she was also awoken by a cat to do her duty to protect Earth. For 10 points, what Sailor Guardian of Love is the actual team leader of the Sailor Guardians?
Buzz, maybe.
What was that?
Buzz.
Yes?
Sailor Venus.
Correct. That is correct.
Venus is the goddess of love. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh.
All right, you get 10 points. That's 10 points to Kayla for Sailor Venus, also known as Sailor V, also known as Mina Aino, also known as Aino Minako, also known as Princess Venus, also known
What's
as
the next
Princess
question?
Sailor Venus. She has plenty of aliases.
Yeah,
All right, so now we get to go on to question 7. All right. These controller accessories were included in a bundle of their game. While not necessary to play the game, they were very popular with the more general audience, as their home console, the Wii, was a very common console for the general public to have. For 10 points, what Wii Remote accessory was bundled with Mario Kart Wii?
Buzz.
Yes, Cam.
It was the steering wheel.
Prompt, what is it called?
The Wii wheel? I don't.
Correct. All right, 10 points.
Oh, is
10
it?
points to
Okay.
Cam. Sorry, I was looking for specifically the Wii wheel because that is the actual name of it. That's the legal name. All right, and I guess with that, that's all the time we have, I guess. So, looking at my points, Brandon is the winner. He has 25 points. Yippee woo! But that's all the time that we have for this episode of All Systems Go. But before you turn us off, make sure you follow us on all of our social medias. And that's Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And with that, All Systems Go, signing off.